One. Okay, what's going on, YouTube? It's PNG Media News back at you with another edition of the Concrete and Steel Chronicles. Today, you in for a real treat. I got OG Cartoon here. He's gonna talk about life, growing up in LA as a Crip, and as you know, experience in a CDC. That's gonna talk about what he's doing today. So without further ado, Cartoon, what's going on, bro?
Oh, what's up, homie? You all right?
I'm cool, brother. So man, so tell the people, where you from?
What set or what city?
Both, I guess.
Oh, you already know I'm in South Central LA, homie. I'm from East Side Avalon, homie. Gangsta Crips, fire trade.
Okay. Okay. And what years like did you come up? Like when you what area did you come up in? Like 80s, 90s? When did you first get started?
Well, you shoot, I mean, as far as banging or as far as just coming up, because I was born in the 60s, homie. So
okay.
I come up in the 70s, predominantly in the 70s and the 80s.
Oh, all right, okay. All right. So tell me about when you was coming up. Just give us some background of what life was like coming up.
Oh, shoot, for me, homie, you know what I'm saying? I'm off the east side. So, in South Central, the east side, especially in the 60s and the 70s, the east side and the west side of LA were two total like different entities, homies. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Most of the blacks that came to Los Angeles, you know what I'm saying, first hit the east side. And as time went on, they started getting a little money. They would kind of, creep over to the west side and start planting their little roots over there. But east side at that time, it's all mixed in the same. But back then, east siders and west siders was real different. You could tell somebody off that east and off that west. Other than that, life was different then as it is now. As far as LA go, the east side is really like predominantly Mexicans. But like when I was coming up, the east side was like 98%, 99% black.
Okay. All right. So when you was coming up, what gangs were around then? Like before that, the red and blue era, were there gangs? If so, what were some of the names of some of them?
Oh yeah. Like, okay, in my name, where my set is, it was a group called the Businessmen. You had the Businessmen, you had the Slawsons, you had the Chain Gang, you had the Gladiators. You had a lot. See, a lot of people think that Crips and Bloods were the first gangs in LA, but no, we descended from other gangs. You feel me? It was all over. You know what I'm saying? But like the predominant ones, like the Gladiators, the Businessmen, the Slawsons, a few more that I can't really think of right now.
Okay, all right. So around what time, or I guess what year did the Crips start hitting, like taking hold?
Start like getting a toehold on the streets of Los Angeles.
Yeah, like when they first started, we first can walk around and start hearing that name, like when their names start to buzz.
Okay, well, they came out in 1969. By I'm gonna say by the end of 1970, early 71, it was a household name. You know what I'm saying? People knew about the Crips by then because it was so many different things that was done, as far as murders and what I'm saying, jackings and stuff that they was doing. Everybody knew about the Crips by then.
Okay. So in your opinion, why did the Crips become so widespread? Like, like you said, the Slawsons, the Businessmen, they weren't like that. But when the Crips came, it's like they took over, when the Bloods too, they both like spread like wildfire. What was different about those two groups?
Well, see, one of the things that made the Crips spread so fast were our founders, were the OGs, the first ones that came about. They traveled, they went all over LA. You feel what I'm saying? They didn't just stay right there in they one little area where they created it at. No, they was in Watts, they was in Compton, they was all over South Central, they was in Inglewood, they was in Pomona, they was in Gardena. You know what I'm saying? They were in West LA. So when they went everywhere, they was on swole, lifting weights is a thing for, you know what I'm saying, dudes out of LA, especially back then. Like if you notice, most of the movies that you watch that talk about LA, it's always somebody lifting weights in the front yard or the backyard. You know, that was our thing, getting on swole, getting that long hair and getting on swole. So, you know, here it is when you got, you know what I'm saying, big old dudes and they, you know what I'm saying, they acting foolish, they acting crazy, they acting wild, you know what I'm saying, knocking people out, taking stuff and, you know, just wrecking shop. Everybody around that area like, whoa, you know what I'm saying, what's up with them? I want, you know, I want to be like them. I want to follow them. I want to be a part of them. So that's what made it spread so fast, because they went everywhere and they spreaded it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so when did your set come around?
Okay. You could say my set hit about 1971. We one of the first groups on the east side of Los Angeles that had our own name first. Because at first it was just East Side Crip, West Side Crip. And then about 71, 72, that's when certain areas start giving themselves names. And so, you know, that's about 71. My homie, you know, my G homie Big Herc, you know what I'm saying? They decided we was going to be Avalon Crips because our set sits right on Avalon.
Okay. All right. And who are some of the founders or some of the OGs from your set, like the early ones?
Oh shoot, man. Like I say, you could lay, okay, this is pertaining to the Avalons on in my end. Like I'm from Five Trey Avalon.
Okay.
Okay, you got 88th Street Avalons. They have their own founder and they have their own OGs. You got 116th Street Avalons. They have their own founder and they have their own OGs. You got 40th Street Avalons. They have their own founders and their own OGs. You know what I'm saying? As years went on, we all became, you know, up under the Avalon banner, but at one time we were all separate entities. Then we all, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, we all came together. So, but now as far as Five Trade goes, you know, you could really lay our originator at you could lay the foot of the homeboy Big Herc. Okay. But you got a few homies. I can name some, but I know I'm gonna leave some out.
Okay.
And it will go in a circle.
Right. Okay, gotcha. Okay, so at what age did you become involved with the Crips? And what brought you and what made you get involved?
Man, I started gang bang when I was like about 13 or 14. Coming up, I always knew I was gonna be a Crip. I had an older cousin. He was a Crip out of Compton, and he would come around and he would always tell me and my other cousin who lived with us at the time that when we got older, that, you know what I'm saying, we was gonna be Crips. He was gonna be Crips. So at the time, I didn't know what he was talking about. I was like, man, you know, what is a Crip? And he would always tell me, you know what I'm saying, East Side, West Side, Compton, and whoop, whoop, this, that, whip. I'm like, okay. And when he would always tell me that this is what I was gonna be regardless, in my mind, I'm like, okay, that's what I'm gonna be, because I idolized him. You know what I'm saying? He was like the end all that be all to me. So as I got older, I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna be. So just so happens, you know what I'm saying, come up in a Crip hood. And then at a young age, I had a Crip hood on this side of me. I had a blood hood on this side of me. I could have easily became a blood. But I was like, no, I always thought back to what my cousin told me as a young child. When you get older, you're gonna be a Crip. So I made it my business to get over there to that Crip hood and join.
Okay. All right. So you become 13, 14, you become a Crip. And what does that take your life? Like what type of stuff you start getting into being a Crip at 13, 14?
As far as like violence, or you know what I'm saying?
Anything. I mean, how'd your life change? Did you like quit school? Did you just start hanging on the block? Like,
okay. I didn't, you know what? I didn't quit school. No. I would go to school, you know what I'm saying, play sports and do other little things at the beginning. But then as time went on and you get, you know what I'm saying, I got more and more deeper into it. I would start, you know what I'm saying, because I would start hanging with a certain group of the homies that we did this and that, you know, we went to school, you know, because school was a thing where, you know, you want to, like, especially like in juvenile, I mean, not juvenile, but in junior high school, you know what I'm saying? You want to go to school to get your gang bang on. You feel me? You want to be seen. You want to, you know, write on the walls. You want to go up there and holler your set out and fight and, you know, let people know whatever set you represented, let them know, okay, woo, woo, woo is here. You know what I'm saying? We here. So, you know, going to school every morning, we would group up, get with each other, you know what I'm saying? Come on, let's go. You know, fall up in there 7, 8, 9, 10 deep, and immediately, you know, start looking for enemies. But as far as the changes, as like I say, as years went on, you start changing, you start getting attitude of like, man, bomb school. You know what I'm saying? I ain't tripping on school, because 9 times out of 10, if you banging a certain type way, you gonna get kicked out regardless, because you fighting. You might have got caught bringing a weapon to school. You're gonna be up there fighting. You're gonna be up there getting jumped on. You're gonna be up there jumping on people. So you're gonna get kicked out of school. They're gonna send you to this school. You're gonna get the same routine. They're gonna send you over here, send you over there. Eventually, you're gonna go to what a lot of us went to was called continuation school, where you know, and I ended up in continuation where it wasn't number like 15 of us that went there, and the bus would pick us up at the house and drop us off at the house. They tried to make sure that we went to this school, you know. So, but that, you know, that wasn't gonna work, because like I say, once the deeper you get off into the banging, you know what I'm saying, bumper school, you know, if you see an enemy, it's on. So there it goes. You get kicked out of that.
Now, during this time, were the Crips like pretty much united? Like, were you able to go to, like, you was from Avalon, was you able to take a trip to Watts and walk through that Crip hood without problems, or there'd be problems, Crips going to different Crips hood?
Oh yeah. Back in the at one time, like I say, you know, long as you threw the C up, you was good. You know, Crips really, you know, the Crip Foundation didn't really start disintegrating until 1979, when two certain sets, you know what I'm saying, they went to war, and behind those two sets going to war, which were two Crip sets, Crips all over LA, you know what I'm saying, inadvertently start choosing sides. You know what I'm saying? And even if you didn't want to choose a side, due to politics, you were going to be aligned with either that set or this set. Because my set, Avalon, we was one of the last sets in LA that, you know, didn't participate in Crip on Crip violence. But like, you know what I'm saying, as you know, as it is, it's hard not to get pulled in. So eventually we got sucked in with the rest and chose a side, and that's how it went.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this, since you mentioned enemies. So when you was coming up, when did you first, like, as when you was a Crip, when did you first like become aware of who the Bloods were? And what were your thoughts about the Bloods?
I mean, you know, you grow, if okay, depending on what age group you come up in, like my age or ages younger, you come up knowing that, you know, enemy, red, enemy. You feel what I'm saying? You're indoctrinated with it. Everything in your set, everything in your neighborhood, you know, if you're in a Crip hood, it's blue. Now, you know, nowadays the color lines, you know, the color lines are blurred. They don't color bang no more. But when I was coming up, they color banged very, very hard. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wore red in my neighborhood. Old women bet not walk down the street with it on their, you know, red, like a red. You know, you see, oh no, grandma, you gotta take that off. You know what I'm saying? Dudes walking around with it on. No, fool, you better come up out that. Wasn't nothing red over there. Period. Cars, none of that. A red car might just get shot at on GP because it was coming through the hood and it was red. But you basically, I mean, you know, from the time you jump off the front porch, you know who your enemies are. You know what I'm saying? Your older homeboys, they indoctrinate you with the knowledge of, okay, we don't get along with them, or them.
Okay. All right. So like you mentioned that you went to continuation school. So at what point do you start getting involved in juvenile justice, with the justice system? And like what was you like first arrest for?
Most, you know, coming up in LA, most hold on. Cuz, what's up? I'm on the interview right now, cuz. Let me call you back. All right, bet. But yeah, most coming up between the ages of 12 and 14, you know what I'm saying? That's when you're gonna start making them juvenile hall trips.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna advance and start doing what you do.
Okay. So what was juvenile hall like? Was there any rehabilitativeness in it, or is it just like a holding place until you was old enough to go to prison?
Juvenile hall was a place back in the late 70s and early 80s. Probably still right now today. I'm not sure, but for me and for most of us, juvenile hall was a place you went and you learned about all the other gangs in LA. Because one thing, okay, as a youngster coming up, 12, 13, 14, you're not really traveling all over LA. You ain't really going nowhere. You gang banging in your neighborhood, and you know about the sets, the immediate hoods that's around you, and you might know about one or two other sets because somebody from that other set might go to your school and you heard of it. You might not even know where it is. So by the time you start making them juvenile hall trips, you know, you in there like, okay, cuz, what's up, homie? Where you from? They gonna say something that you've never heard of before. And you be like, what? So it's gonna be at first it's gonna be a whole lot of, okay, where y'all at? And they're gonna be like, okay, well, where y'all at? But you go through that a lot. You see, stuff wrote on wall, wrote in books or, wrote on desk or on the ground, and you be like, one, but that's what it is. It's a proven ground because, here it is. You got, 400-500 youngsters, everybody banging. The whites probably not, but as far as the Mexicans and the blacks, everybody from somewhere, 9 times out of 10, 98% are gang banging. And so it's a proven ground to see, what I'm saying, who's tough, who ain't. You see your enemies, you're gonna get them up. And that's how it goes. It's a pride. You want your set to be known. You want your set to be spread. You want your set to be known as down. So you got to stay down. You got to do whatever as much as you can do to put your set on the map.
Okay. All right. So you take your juvenile, trip to juvenile, you come back to the streets. Where does your life go from there?
It don't help. Like, it was no such thing for me. Now I'm not gonna speak on other people. I'm gonna speak for me. There was no such thing as rehabilitation. There was no such thing as helping you out. When I went to juvenile hall the first time, I had a ball. Man, I was in there meeting the other Crips from everywhere. I was in there putting it down for my set. I was in there just doing the most. And I didn't do nothing but about 2 weeks. I got out. So that really didn't faze me, period. But now here it is, when you get out, everybody in your age group, your little young homegirls at your age, your homies at your age, they looking at you like, oh man, you done been to juvenile hall. So now you walking around with your chest out because you feel, okay, yeah, I'm tough. So therefore, that's gonna make you even do tougher things on the streets. You know what I'm saying? To keep up that reputation. So eventually you got another trip back to juvenile hall, lurking in the shadows, bam, and there it goes.
Wow. So how many trips did you take in all, you think?
I went to juvenile hall 3 times.
Okay.
After, my last time they heard them send me to Hawaii. They like, yeah, you need to go to Hawaii. And I went to Hawaii.
Okay, now what's that?
Okay, that's called CYA, California Youth Authority. Your first trip after juvenile hall would probably be what they call camp. They can send you to camp for 6 months, or 6 months to a year, or 3 to 6 months, little camp. Or if you like, they feel you're a heavier offender, they'll send you to like what they call youth authority. Basically, you can call it juvenile prison.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so tell me about the dynamics in there. Were there older cats there? Did prison politics come into play there? I mean, what was some of the dynamics there?
As far as Hawaii go, and when I was coming in, you could stay till 21. After 21, they cut you loose or they send you to prison. So when I first went in, I think I went in at 14 or 15. They had California had at that time like 7 or 8 different youth authorities. And they had one called OH Close. That was for the ages of 9, from ages of 9 to about 15. 9 to about 17. Okay. Then you had different ones. If older, they'll send you to different ones. But all YA was like 18 and down. 9 times out of 10, if you caught a case and you were 18 and older, they was gonna send you to prison anyway. But now, as the norm goes, you catch your case, you 13, 14, 15, they gonna send you to YA. The politics, it wasn't, it wasn't like prison. It was a lot different. It was a lot of it was a lot of gang banging, I'm talking about from the time you walk through the door to the time you leave, you gang banging. It's on. Wow.
Okay. So you go to YA, and what does that do to you as a person? I mean, if you gang banging that much, like, how does your mentality change, or how did your mentality change, if at all? I mean, what would that experience do to you?
Okay, like I say, I'm gonna speak on me. Me going to YA, it made me even more worser. It made me more of a gang banger. You know what I'm saying? Because I was in it to win it. My whole demo, my whole thing was to, make, make Avalon a household name. I wanted everybody in there to know my set was the hardest set in LA as far as I was concerned. So I tried my best to be the hardest dude in there. If I seen my enemy bloods, we had to fight immediately. There wasn't no talking. There wasn't no ifs, ands, or buts. On site, I see you, I'm gonna get you. And you in there and you learning in there. And why are you learning how to be a harder and better gang banger? That's basically what YA did to you. And it is preparing you for your prison experience. Because the mentality you leave YA with, it ain't nothing but a hot second for you going to prison. Because you getting on them streets and you ready to act a fool.
Okay. So, all right, so you go through what? So we had you at juvenile, then a YA. So now you're back to the street. So I take it that you came back out, still trying to put it down for your set. So how long did you remain on the street before you caught that first adult case that's going to take you to prison?
Okay. Well, the first time I got out of YA, I stayed home. I stayed out 2 weeks and went right back. I went back and did a few more years. Then I got out, and that's when I stayed out a month. I stayed out maybe a month and a half, almost 2 months before I went to prison.
Okay. Now, before we get to your prison experience, let me ask you this, if you don't mind. So, what was your your interactions with your parents? During that much time, and they try to save you from that, or they just say it's a lost cause? Like, what was that like? Going to see your mom for like a month and going back in. I mean, tell me about that.
Okay, well, mom, Pops, he got ghosts early in the game. You know what I'm saying? Cause he flew the coop on me when I was about 2 years old, so he wasn't there. So I really wasn't tripping on him anyway. When my gang career started, mom's wasn't with it. She didn't understand it. Mom's old school. And she didn't understand it. She was like, "No, what is this?" And she would always blame my cousin Walter, my older cousin, for me turning out how I turned out, which, okay, she could have blamed him for it. But man, I used to go through hoops with moms with it. She would try to send me out of town and send me to, different states and different relatives' houses. And, and I would let them know, hey, look, man, get me back to LA. I'm finna run away. I'm not finna stay away from my set. I'm not gonna do it. Get me back to LA. So they had no choice but to send me back. And she would tell me, don't do this, don't do that. But I didn't want to hear it, you know what I'm saying? Because people talk about you can have a 2-parent home in LA or 1-parent home. It don't make no difference. The streets are gonna raise your kids. You know what I'm saying? The gang culture in LA at that time was so strong. What moms and pops was talking about didn't make a difference anyway, because every time you leave out that front door, the 100% main influence was your hood, your homies, whatever they was talking about, whatever they was doing. That's what it was. So, you know, you didn't really pay attention to what mom's talking about. You know, in and out, when I would get out of jail, I might go to the house for 30 minutes, but the whole time, you know, I'm only thing on my mind is getting out of here and getting to the set. I got to get to the park. I got to get to the homies. You know what I'm saying? Moms might be having family members come over to see me or whatever, and I'm smiling and grinning, but the whole time I want to get to the homies.
Wow. Okay. That's deep. That's deep. Okay. So, all right. So you get back out, like I said. So take me through. Okay, what brought you to prison? I mean, you can just tell as much as you're comfortable about with that. I mean, just in general.
Let me see. Okay, robbery. You know what I'm saying? At one time I was a cold robber. Got, you know, called for robbery and got convicted. I could have got a county lid, but no, I didn't want that. You know what I'm saying? That LA County jail is horrible. It's so stanky and nasty in there. I was like, man, go on, send me to prison. You know what I'm saying? Herb, get me up out of here.
All right. Okay. So you get picked up for robbery. So you go into the county jail first. Now, what's that experience like? Is it a big contrast from YA?
Okay, LA County Jail, especially when I went, that was probably one of the roughest places, and one of probably the most dangerous places to be incarcerated at in the United States. You know what I'm saying? They had a saying, if you can make it in the LA County Jail, you can make it in anywhere. You can make it in any prison in the United States. If you can make it through the LA County Jail, you straight, you good, because you know you got what it takes. You know, when I went up in there, you know what I'm saying? Like I say, it was programmed as usual, gang banging and whatever, you know what I'm saying? You know, your mentality, my mentality, you know, homie, I'm from Avalon Gangsta Crips. If you get along with us, cool. If you don't, what's up? And you go from there. You know, like I say, at that time, Crips were so prevalent in the county jail, we was everywhere. Then, you know, you had what was called 4800, the Crip module. You know, because see, Crips cut up so bad in the county jail, they had to pull them all off the main line and just, you know, sequester them in their own little blocks, their own little modules, because, you know, Crips was tearing fools' head up in there. So they tried to put us all in our own little area. So, you know, at the time when you come in, you know, homies would shoot messages back to the street. Man, don't come to 4800. Man, it's messed up. So you come in, you be trying to duck it. You be trying to go to, you know, Wayside or over here, over there. But now, you know, they gonna come find you. OSS, they had a group called OSS. And OSS, what they was doing, they was pulling Crips out the module, walking them through the county jail, and they was pointing homies out. Oh, look, oh, here Crip, here Crip, here Crip. Boom. And so, okay, they snatch you up. And then, you know, you getting messages from the county jail. The thing is to try to be the deepest. If you deep, you good. If your set is short, you know what I'm saying, you gonna have some problems. So you trying to get all your homies you can up in 4800. You know what I'm saying? The homies calling every day, cuz you get locked up, come to 4800, come to 4800, because you want you know you need the numbers, you know.
Right. Okay. All right. So okay, so you go from county. Now, was there ever any schooling, like people telling you when you get to prison, this is how it's gonna be? Did anyone school you while you was in the county?
Yeah, you had a whole bunch of homies that, you know, come down from prison that had been down for years for like different cases, for you know, for whatever reason they were back in the county jail for. So, you know, when you in the cell with them, they give, you know, they schooling all of us. They giving us the 411. All of the homies who had never been to prison, they letting us know, okay, this happening, that happening, you know, boom, 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 boom. They letting us know the politics between the blacks and the whites, the politics between the blacks and the Mexicans, you know what I'm saying, how to get out, you know what I'm saying, that we learning how to make weapons, you know, they mentally preparing us for when we step up in there.
So when you was getting that schooling, like what went through your mind? He's like, damn, I done made a big mistake, because the prison ain't this prison ain't gonna be no joke. Or he's like, hey, this is just the next step in my career.
Yeah, pretty much next step. Ain't no mistaking. Oh no, I ain't never looked at it as no mistake. You know what I'm saying? it's hey, it's like, man, let's do it. Let's, you know what I'm saying? Let's do this. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
My thing is I ain't scared. I'm from Avalon. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. If we go, I done got my time. I'm going to prison. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
Okay.
Don't too many, ain't too many homies, especially from my generation, gonna look at it as a mistake. Because now a lot of times, now it might be weird thinking, but now, as youngsters coming up, you see big homies getting out the pen, you see big homies getting out of YA on swole with the long hair. You know what I'm saying? We like, dang, cuz I want to grow up, I want to be just like them. So we literally can't wait. We can't wait to go.
Okay.
So we, a lot of time you got homies out there pulling stunts and doing whatever and don't give a dang about going, because we figure, okay, it's about time. Let me get up in here and show what I'm about now.
Okay. All right. So what penitentiary do you land at first?
San Quentin.
San Quentin. Wow. Okay. So take me through that. You get there, get off the bus. What happens?
For me, it wasn't the San Quentin experience that, what I'm saying, a lot of people might think, okay, you had two different parts of San Quentin. You had what was called H unit, and then you had what was called behind the wall. Okay. Now behind the wall is, what I'm saying, where it's showing up, it's going down everywhere, but when you see the long tiers, the long rows, and all that, okay, that's behind the wall. When I first went the first time, I didn't have but a 16-month bid. Okay. So when you get a 16-month bid, you can do an 8-month county lid, or you can just go on and go to prison. So that's when I let them know. So boom. But anyway, with a 16-month bid, you're gonna be in a lower level custody. And so going to San Quentin, going to the H unit, it's a lot of dorms and bungalows. And so it wasn't really a lot going on there like it was up behind the wall. So the stay was really uneventful. You know what I'm saying? You don't do, like I say, you do 8 months and you gone.
All right. Okay. So, all right. So you get back to the street again. How long did you stay?
I got out, stayed 2 months.
2 months. All right. So you come back in through the county. So what joint do you go to next?
You come, okay. You got your, you go always, you can't forget your the Chino, the reception center. When you leave the county jail, you're gonna go to Chino. That's like intake. That's the reception center. That's where they do all your diagnostics on, where you gonna go, how much time you gonna do, and blah, 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 blah. You go through that, then they shoot you from there to whatever prison you gonna go to. So when you come back, you going through Chino again. When I came back from Chino, I went to I was supposed to go to CMC West. I went to CMC East.
Okay. All right. So you get to CMC East. So what's that experience like? You have to report to anybody, tell them who you are, or anything like that? What goes on?
Okay. First off, I think I was coming back on a violation. Okay. I don't think I had a new case. I think I was coming back on a violation. So when I went to the East Yard, when I first got there, the administration didn't want to let me in because now, East is let me see, East is kind of like medicine, or put it like this here. At that time, that prison had a lot of dropouts. They had a lot of rats, they had a lot of snitches, they had a lot of people that can't go nowhere else in the system. And they only had a handful of like regular dudes, but you had to rightfully pay. But it was so kicked back, it was so laid back that you had a lot of dudes want to try to ease up in there. So I played them on the medicine road. But now when I get there, I'm like, okay, I made it through the door. they take me to the shift office. They like, hey, look, why you here? I'm like, what you talking about? I'm here to do my time. They thought that I was there to, carry out a hit on somebody. Because from my jacket is letting them know I clearly have no business being here. But they like, okay, well, we finna watch you and boom, boom, boom. Which it didn't last long. It didn't last long, period. It might have lasted about a month and a half because I wasn't taking the medicine. You know what I'm saying? I play crazy all day long, but I'm not finna take that medicine, period. You feel me? Right. So they documented that I wasn't doing this. So they're like, man, ain't nothing wrong with you. You out of here. And I end up catching a robbery case and going to lockup.
Okay. All right. So at what point do you start to encounter prison politics, like the racial dynamics? You can't be here, they can't be there. When did you first encounter that, and what do you think about it?
You're gonna encounter that from soon as you hit Chino, coming out the county jail. You're gonna encounter. Okay. I mean, as far as politics go, you're gonna know your politics before you even get there. You know what I'm saying? And and you have so many different politics. You have inner prison gang politics. You have racial politics. It's just the whole thing. The whole thing is political. You can step on some toes and don't even really know it. But you gonna know your ins and outs before you even hit the system. Now, when you hit the system, you're gonna learn them a little bit more. You're gonna learn. You're gonna know pretty much. You're gonna know what to do and what not to do.
All right. Okay.
You're gonna know what's disrespect. You're gonna know what's not disrespect.
Okay. So you get there. So tell me about. All right. So when you got there in prison, did you still see the separation, like the Bloods and the Crips, or was that kind of like, look, we're not on that right now. We're all black because we're at war. What was going on during your time?
Well, at the time when I came, if you went to a lower level prison, you're gonna see that gang banging. You're gonna see Crip on blood violence. Now in the maximum security prisons, they kind of squash that. They kind of put that. No, you know what I'm saying? Like you say, we black. And because like when I first went to they like the homies was like, cuz look, you ain't in them little baby spots no more, homie. You here now. We ain't tripping on this, and this. This is what we doing. I'm like, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no problem with that.
Okay. So in your time, how did you see, like, how many racial melees were you ever involved in?
Oh shoot! Now as I start going to different prisons, I was heavily involved with them because my thing was I wasn't tripping on. Now once I got away from that gang banging mentality in prison, my thing was strictly Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? That right there was a big thing with me. I was one of them ones, if it's going down, it's going down. You feel me? It was like that. If I smelled trouble, if I smelled problems, if I thought it was gonna be a problem with them, I'm taking over. All the homies that's with me or around me, we taking over. And you learn, I mean, over a period of time, you will seriously, you'll develop a hate. And it's not that way with me right now, or anymore. But during my prison stay in California, you know what I'm saying? You actually, you learn to hate who you hate. And I didn't like them cats. You feel me? They did a lot of damage to my people. My people did a lot of damage to them. And it was like, I was with the bull. I was with all the mess. So it's like, okay, if we finna get them, let's get them. And that's what it was.
Okay. Now, did you feel, from your experience, did you feel that like when it went down, whether it be a big riot or whether it just be an assault, did the blacks hold their own? I mean, did they fight back? I mean, what was it like from your perspective?
Well, I mean, did we fight back? I don't know what you heard. Did we fight back? Man, listen. Okay. Physically, from a physical standpoint,
Mhm.
you already know Mexicans or whites couldn't stand against us. You know what I'm saying? Period.
Mhm.
You know, we'll kick, I mean, you know, it is what it is. We'll kick another race off in they behind from a
Mhm.
physical standpoint. But now, as far as dealing with the Mexicans, you know, they was weapons off the rip. You know what I'm saying? They strictly gunplay. Gunplay means, you know, they with that knife, the
Mhm.
razor, the knife, and you know, they pretty much had to because they couldn't stand up against us physically. You know, one black gonna whoop 2, 3 Mexicans. So, you know, you know, boom, they got with the weapon play. And man, I've been in big rides, I've been in little rides, I've been in, you know, one-on-one personal get downs. I've been in so many of them, homie. I've been in a gang of them. Cause now at the time I was the type, if it happened on the yard and I wasn't out there and was in it, oh, when I come out my cell, I'm gonna be in it because I'm gonna kick it off again.
Mhm. Okay. Now, was there more conflict between Mexicans and blacks than blacks and whites? Would you say?
It was always blacks and Mexicans. It was
Okay.
always blacks and Mexicans. You know, the whites at the time, they ain't finna do nothing but jump on their own.
Okay.
They don't want to do nothing but get high and jump on their own. Now,
Mhm.
they were Mexican sympathizers. You know, I've
Mhm.
been in a few, you know what I'm saying? I've been in, you know, a few altercations with the whites too, but 9 times out of 10, they always want to, you know, back up the Mexicans, the Southern Mexicans from Southern California.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, so because you got the Northern Mexicans from Northern California, you got Southern Mexicans from Southern California. They hate each other at that time. They still don't like each other today. But anyway, so I'm gonna speak on from then. Yeah, they hate each other. They main enemies.
Mhm.
So you know, the blacks, we got along with the Northern Mexicans. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? To the point to where we ride with them, they ride with us, the whole hookup. So
Mhm.
the whites roll with the Southern Mexicans, the blacks roll with the Northern Mexicans.
Okay. All right. So, let me ask you this. You know, my understanding, California has 4 big prison gangs. You know, BGF, AB, NF. You know, Nuestra Familia, and Liame. In your experience, you ever encountered any of those guys, from any of those groups?
Nah, I mean, you leaving groups out, homie. As far as prison
Oh, it's
gangs
more.
go.
Uh,
Oh yeah. Now you know, like okay, as far as the Mexican, you know, okay, they got the Mexican, they had the Mexican mafia, but like I
mhm,
say, that was a Southern Mexican thing
mhm.
because the Northern Mexicans had what you call Nuestra Familia. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That was their thing on the North.
Mhm.
And now as far you had the BGF, you had the Aryan Brotherhoods,
Mhm.
and as far as Crips, you know what I'm saying? Crips had CCO, we had Blue Notes, and
Okay.
Bloods had, you know, Bloodline and UBN.
Okay.
All
All
those
right.
were major groups.
Okay. So now the ones for the Crips, you said Blue Notes and CCO.
Yeah,
Okay. And so did you ever become involved with it? Because that's, if I'm correct, is that called being under paperwork,
right.
something like
From the
that?
paperwork.
Okay. All right. So what was your thoughts? Did anyone ever approach you about joining that?
I'm a Blue Note.
Oh, you're a Blue Note. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what was that experience like? I mean, as much as you know, could speak on it, how did that change from you just being a regular Crip to a Blue Note? What was the like distinction?
Well, when you know what I'm saying, you run across somebody that's affiliated with it. You know,
Mhm.
if you curious or you interested in it, and you talk to, you know what I'm saying, when they give you the spiel on it, okay, well,
Mhm.
this is what we about. Boom, 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 boom. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? They, you know, you either like what they about or you don't like what they about.
Mhm.
And I mean it's simple. It ain't no you know no ifs ands, but if you like what they about and you want to be a part of what they about, you go ahead and take that step. If
Okay.
you don't like what they about and you don't want to be about it, you just don't take that step. Simple as that.
All right. All right. Okay. And then, so what was your relationship, the Blue Notes relationship with the CCO? Were they rivals? Were they kind of
Yes.
coexisting? Okay.
I mean basically you could say rivals. Yeah,
Mhm. All right.
rivals.
All right. Now I want to explore that a little bit. Okay, because you had a situation where you're in prison. You got the Mexicans and the blacks are heavily enemies. You got the whites who, like I said, Southern Mexicans. You have the whites who kind of sympathize with the Southern Mexicans. So what was it that kept those two groups from merging become a one power group?
Two total different ideologies.
Okay.
On thoughts on what direction Crips should take. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay.
And it's let me see how to put it. Just we had put it like this. We had two different thoughts on what direction Crips should go in.
Okay.
It's like of course it's only so far I'm gonna go into that. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. All right. That makes sense. Okay, so all right, so how many years did you do in total?
Shoot, count YA and prison.
No, just the prisons, the penitentiaries.
Let me see. Okay, 80, 86, 16, 16. Let me see. Okay. About 32 years.
Wow, 32 years. Okay. So in that 32 years, how did you see dynamics change? Like with each generation, the Crips and stuff like that. Like I said, I guess in your generation, like you had people with ideologies like Blue Notes and CCOs coming up in your era, and like the next generation, what changes did you see? Like with Crips, just in general, or with Crips specifically? You know what I mean?
Okay. First off, let me clarify. When I say 32 years straight, 23 of them were spent in the Alabama state prison.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I came out here to Alabama and caught a case, caught a life sentence, and did 23 years out here.
Okay.
But ask what was that question again?
Okay. Well, now I was just asking, like, with each time, like each decade that you were locked up, like how did you see the mentality change of the inmate population? Like from the guys, like the cure to the people that came in when you were in, they had ideologies and stuff like that. Did that stuff carry over to the next generation? Or
no,
each generation kind of
no.
Okay.
I seen it. I literally watched it change and hated it. Couldn't believe it. As the years went on and years went on, the caliber of blacks that was coming into the prison, it got weaker and weaker and weaker. Got more watered down and more watered down and more watered down. Now I'm speaking on the Crips, the Bloods. I'm speaking on all of them. It got to the point to where, what I'm saying, it seemed like by the time blacks hit the system, they was coming into prison already scared of Mexicans. I'm like, it's like they were scared to pick up an iron, iron as far as, like a knife. They scared to pick up a weapon. You know what I'm saying? Of course, the numbers changed because, at one time, we vastly outnumbered the Mexicans, but as years went on, they turned around, they start vastly outnumbering us. And it seemed like they was coming in with heart, and the blacks was coming in scared. I'm talking about, man, by the time I left this prison system and went someplace else, when riots would kick off, when moves had to be done, when people had to be hit or whatever, the youngsters that was coming in, they wasn't with it. They was running, they was scared. So here it is, the old guard, the homies who've been down 10, 12, 20, 30 years, they steadily got to perform. They got to keep performing because this new jack crew coming in was scary as I don't know what. They wasn't about that life for real.
Okay. Wow. What do you think that came from? Was it just people used to fight with guns now? I mean, what do you think that?
It came from the streets. It came from when I was coming up and homies up under me and way older than me, we had to get down. You had to fight to come outside the house and hang in the hood, especially on that east side. You had to come from, man, if you wasn't willing to come from the shoulders, you wasn't willing to get them up, that your little egg sandwich that your mama gave you was finna get took. You know, you had to fight every day, all the time. But as time went on, this new generation of youngsters, they were scared. They got scared to get their face tapped. They got scared, so they start putting them pistols. You feel what I'm saying? When that gunplay got real tough, wasn't nobody fighting no more. Wasn't nobody tough like that no more. They driving past you at 100 miles an hour, shooting everything that they can shoot. Because I used to tell them youngsters all the time, I'm like, okay, you in my world now, home, what? You had to check that gun in at the gate. Yeah, you ain't got that gun now. Now what you gonna do with your little scary self? And they tuck their tail up under their little legs and be the little boys that they are, because they ain't got that gun. And they scared to pick that knife up. So now here it is. You got this sorry, sad group of dudes coming into prison now. And you got these Mexicans coming in tough. So, you know, of course, the tide, you know what I'm saying? The tide start changing on them. Tide start changing. I used to just shake my head, be like, God dang, man. I'm gonna have to get down all the way to the bitter end. And like when I paroled my last trip in a California prison, we was on lockdown from a Mexican stabbing a black, as usual. And you know, my cellie, I'm telling my cellie, I'm like, cuz, if they rack these gates, I'm taking off, homie. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna do what I'm supposed to do. Oh, Toon, man, you going home tomorrow, cuz. You go home in the morning. I'm like, homie, I don't care nothing about that. I'm home when I get, cuz I had a motto. I'm not home till I get home. You know, when you sit up in that prison, man, your mind turned to a certain way. And you know, some people get affected like that. And I really didn't give a dang about no go home. You know? I was home when I got there. If I didn't get there, I just didn't get there. As long as my feet on this prison yard, I'm finna get out for my people. Simple as that.
Okay. All right. Wow, that's heavy right there. So let me ask you this. Okay, so what point did you start to say, you know what, this prison life, I want to change. I want something different. How did that whole change you start to come about?
Years later, when I went up until my late years out here in Alabama doing time. You know what I'm saying? Okay. When I got out, when I paroled from Cali, you know what I'm saying, I was still buck wild. I was the only reason why I didn't catch a case and go back to prison in Cali is because a group of dudes that I got with, we started getting money. And they was like, look, man, you know, Cali got this 3-strike law now. So what we gonna do, we gonna take the show on the road. We gonna go to other states and do what we do. So in case we get popped, we got action at getting out of prison again. So I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying? So that's what kind of stopped that. But now if we would have just started doing what we were doing right there in Cali, which I was fine with that too. Cause I got out on the bull still anyway. It was programmed as usual. Right. But now when I came out here to Alabama and caught this case, it was so hectic after about the first 10 to 12, 13, 14, 15 years. That's when I start, winding down. I guess it was an age thing. Okay. That's pretty much was me. I wasn't gonna stop being who I was or doing what I do as long as I was in that certain age group. As I got older, it started leaving out me. I start seeing things a different way. I start feeling things a different way. You know what I'm saying? So it took time for me. It took age.
Okay. Now just real quickly, I want to jump back to prison for 1 second. When you got to Alabama, what was it like coming from that Cali where it's heavy politics to a prison in the South? What was that experience?
A culture shock.
Okay.
A straight up culture shock. I'm talking about it was a culture shock. Okay, I was shocked. I was shocked to see they had gangs first though. So once I got past that, I'm like, okay, all right. You know what I'm saying? They got Crips, Bloods, Disciples, Vice Lords, you know what I'm saying, one or two other little things. They were so much different from what I was used to. They wasn't cripping. They wasn't cripping like LA. They wasn't cripping like how we crip. They had their own way of cripping. So I spent many years when I first got in here, you know, changing, correcting stuff. No, homie, it don't go like this. No, homie, it don't go like that. It's not this, it's not that. They had took 2-3 different sets from LA and merged them into one and thought that's what it was. No, homie, that don't go together. They took LA politics and Chicago politics and tried to and mixed them all up. I'm like, no, homie, no, that's Chicago, that's disciple stuff. That's what they do over there. We don't do that. We do this. So, you know, they don't, but they didn't know. You know what I'm saying? They were like, you know, kids trying something, growing up into it. They just didn't know. So, you know, I'm like, no, not this, not so. Whoosh. You had some that was, you know, accepted it. You had some was like, no, this is how I learned it. This is what I'm gonna do. So, you know, of course, you know, I would, you know, hey, homie, you not finna mess my cripping up. I don't know what you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? You know, not bing, bing, bing. Get your mind right, son.
Wow. Okay. So tell me about cartoon today. Who's the cartoon of today? What's he into?
Man, the cartoon today, man, is I had to learn. I had to learn the hard way, man. From the time I wake up, every morning I wake up, I pray, man. When I get in my car to go to work, I pray. And I couldn't, you know, as far as a lot of people, you know, they might not, oh God, this and that. No, I know for a fact God is real. I know He's real. You know, I prayed for a wife. He gave me my wife. You know what I'm saying? He look out for me. Everything I prayed and asked for, He giving it to me. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying, you know, I'm supposed to have this. I don't pray and ask for no astronomical stuff. As far as my, you know, what I feel about Crips, yeah, I love my Crips, but I learned how to differentiate between, you know what I'm saying, grown man stuff and, you know, stuff that really not gonna benefit me no more. You know, I take trips back to LA all the time. You know, I go to the hood, I see the homies, you know what I'm saying? Whereas before it's like I wouldn't be able to leave now. Hey, okay, homie, I see y'all, I love y'all, I see what you're doing, boom. Now it's time for me to get back to Alabama and, you know, get back to my real life. You know, I go to work every day, I come home, I watch TV, and I kick it with my wife. What, you know, it no longer drives me if a person is, you know, red, blue, if he's saying cuz, blood, it don't really drive me like that no more, you know?
Okay. All right, cool. Well, all right. Well, I'm gonna I guess that's the perfect way to close out here. So before we close, anybody you want to shout out or anything like that?
Oh shoot, all, you know, all my people, you know what I'm saying, that's locked up, man. Like free them, let them go, you know what I'm saying, do what they do. Shout out to the homie Kev Mac, you know what I'm saying, I appreciate a lot of stuff he let me do on air. And
Okay.
you know, all my homies in South Central, y'all keep your head up, you know what I'm saying, and all my homies that's out here in Alabama with me, keep their head up. And all the brothers around the nation, you know what I'm saying, stay strong, man. We unstoppable, man. That's all I can say is stay strong. We unstoppable.
All right. And anybody want to get at you? Do you got social media or anything like that? You might want to get at you?
Well, I do got a Facebook page. It's up under Tony Watson.
Okay.
If they see it, it's gonna be me standing next to a black car. I got on all blue. Boom. Or they can get at me like shoot, however they do. You know, I'm not real literate when it comes to that social media get down. You know, whether it's Facebook or Instagram. I don't, matter of fact, am I on Instagram?
Yeah,
I think I'm on Instagram. I'm on Instagram, man.
Yeah, we hit each other up on Instagram, I think. Yeah.
Right, yeah. They could get at me on Instagram, you know, the whole hookup.
Okay, bet. All right. Well, there you have it, YouTube. This has been another. Well, wait a minute, let me stop. Let me first thank you for taking time about your busy day, especially just getting off from work to do this interview. Now, I could have took this interview on for hours, but I know we gotta go. But this has been real insightful. I mean, I really, really enjoyed this. So thank you a million times for appearing on my platform. You know, we may have to do this again one day because this is really, really good stuff. So there you have it, YouTube. This has been another edition of the Concrete and Steel Chronicles. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you again.